Hi, it's Lisa from Heart Sun Yoga here. I am actually outside of the cancer center. I'm sitting in my car. I don't know if you can see it, but that is the cancer center. It's the chemo infusion center where my husband is currently receiving his first of his second round of chemo treatments. So the last round that he did was about 6 months ago, and he did the pill form, and this is now going to be the infusion form of chemo, which is, I guess, more intense. His oncologist says that it's more effective, possibly, so there's some evidence that it works a little better, so he decided to go this route and try. But I just wanted to talk about how he had his port put in just yesterday, and it's a port that they put, I forget which side it's on, but it's kind of on his chest or shoulder. Yeah, it was something that I went with him to the appointment yesterday, and we were there for 3.5 hours. The way they described it to us here at the cancer center was like, oh yeah, you're gonna get a port and you're gonna get a scan and then you're gonna come back and you'll start your chemo. And so like I just thought it was really no big deal. It was just the way they were so blasé about describing what happens with the port insertion. And then I noticed like yesterday when he was coming out of the procedure, because I just figured I'd wait in the waiting room. I didn't really think that it was one of those intense procedures or I needed to be there with him. Well, he comes out and the lady who was there with him, I guess she's a nurse, was hugging him and just being super sweet and like wishing him blessings. And I was like, why is she hugging him so much? I mean, I thought, well, that's really sweet and awesome, and I'm glad that she's giving him attention and being so loving, but like, why is she feeling the need to be quite so nurturing just after this mild procedure? And then later he told me that it actually really was quite painful, and that they sliced open his arm and stuck a device in there that's about the size of a quarter. And I was like, what? And he said, what do you think they did? And I said, they inserted a port. And he said, well, what do you think they do? How do you think that happens? And I was like, oh, I guess I didn't really think about it, because the people at your oncologist just made it sound like it was no big deal. So there's just so many things to consider and pay attention to and like be aware of when you're going through this cancer journey. And even still now, like over a year in, you know, it's been over a year since his diagnosis, like there's still things that come up that surprise me, or that like I still come out feeling like, oh, I think I'm missing something here. Like there's something I didn't know or understand about this. So there's just so much to learn, and you constantly have to be like vigilant and paying attention. And it's just incredible how much he's been through since his diagnosis. He's been through so many painful procedures and surgeries and, you know, therapies, and gosh, it's awful when I think about all the poor guy's been through so far. But at the same time, like, we're really also just so glad he's still here with us, because there was a point, well, actually there were like 3 different periods within the past year that he was so close to death and he almost left this world. And we were also told by various doctors that he was to be sent home for home hospice, and that there was just basically no hope for him. And so he was really lucky to get the surgery that he did get. And we totally realized that the doctors and the surgeon have saved his life. And where he is now is a place that he's really lucky to be at, because at least there is still some hope. And, you know, he's going through treatments again. He's doing what he can to fight it aggressively. It's been a lot for our family to go through, of course. And speaking of all that pain, he was given, or I should say, opioids were covered by his insurance policy. And from what I understand, you know, for most cancer patients, they are covered by insurance. And of course, they were like a godsend and a blessing, like right before and after surgery when he was in intense pain all the time, morphine and such. But now he's doing chemotherapy, which is like something that he really needs because it helps with, well, I wrote it down. Medical marijuana helps with, I'm talking about medical marijuana here. Medical marijuana helps with pain relief. It eases pain. It helps the patient to require fewer opioids. The opioids are addictive and they're not really that good for the mental state I've observed in my husband. And so, yeah, marijuana helps him through painful periods. It eases depression and anxiety. It especially is helpful for those with digestive-related cancers like what my husband has, which is colorectal cancer, colon cancer. Medical marijuana helps with the digestion, increases the appetite, and reduces nausea. And that is important to prevent wasting or weight loss, which was something my husband has been dealing with because he couldn't eat for almost 2 solid months. He was on like liquid diet and then nothing diet, like not even water for a while, like complete bowel rest. He had the NGO tube in the hospital, so that's a tube that prevents anything from going into your bowels when you need to be on complete bowel rest. But yeah, I mean, the medical marijuana is so good for people doing chemotherapy with these types of cancers. It also decreases inflammation body-wide, which is a big part of cancer in general. From what I understand, marijuana is scheduled as, I believe it's a Schedule 1 drug, which means that it has no medical value according to the FDA or whoever it is that does the classifications. So that's why insurance doesn't cover it right now. Yet they'll give you harmful and addictive opioids all day long. But yeah, you can't get medical marijuana covered through insurance. The only way to get it is to pay out of pocket and get your authorization form filled out by a doctor. I talked to our doctor about that today and he said, yeah, bring it in and I'll fill it out, I'll sign it. But we don't even know like exactly how to get the form because I think you have to contact the state or mail a letter to the state right now. That's how they have it set up. So even to get the application form like takes time. And yeah, and then it costs money to file that with the state. So, and then all you end up getting is, I think, a percentage off the taxes, or maybe they just don't charge you any taxes. But this is pay out of pocket situation. Like if you want this very important, sacred, helpful medicine for people with chemo, like probably more so than the opioids. The only way to get that is to pay out of pocket. And so I just find that like something I don't understand, like why we all are starting to legalize marijuana even for recreational now. It's happened in our state. It's legal recreationally here in Nevada. So I just feel like for a cancer patient, that needs to change. So moving on from that issue, I just wanted to talk a little bit about how this all ties in with yoga and meditation for me. Of course, I've been meditating and sending like healing energy to my husband in meditation sessions. The meditation and the yoga have all been super helpful for me as a cancer caregiver, and just probably the main thing that's helped me to stay sane and keep some modicum of happiness in my life, even as we've been going through certainly the hardest year of our lives together, and probably just the hardest time of both of our lives like ever. And so yeah, I've just been using meditation to try and relax into the situation. I've been reading a lot about non-attachment, not getting attached to outcomes, not needing things to go a certain way or go my way or what I had envisioned or planned for myself and my life. So yeah, like detaching from outcomes, and then also to some extent emotionally detaching from him, or at least from the way he acts sometimes when he's really not himself. Because, for example, when he's in pain or when he's nervous about a new procedure or a new therapy that's coming up, he can be very grumpy and very testy and not very receptive. He doesn't even think my jokes are all that funny, so how could that be possible, right? I mean, I'm obviously hilarious, but yeah, it's been a process for me to really look into, you know, how I am with him, and just being aware that there's certain behaviors or attitudes that before he was sick I definitely would not have put up with, and I would have probably fought tooth and nail with him on even these little things. And, you know, I wouldn't have let him get away with any kind of perceived slight or shortness, like short-temperedness or any such thing. But now, you know, it's totally changed me, and I've had to really get in touch, like, with the part of me that is forgiving and compassionate, because I don't want to look back at this time and be like, oh, that's something I could have let go, and instead I chose to be mean about it, or oh, I could have let that go, but I chose to have an argument. You know, this is not the time to be arguing over petty things. And so that's something I've had to kind of really pay attention to and be aware of and be mindful of. And my mindfulness practices have helped me to come into that space of greater love and greater openness. These practices have helped me to really see where I need to change, and then help me to do the work to make that change happen in a healthy way. So what can caregivers do to help themselves through these situations and to be the best caregiver they can be? Self-care, I didn't make this up. This is out there. It's floating around in the ether. It's like, it's part of the zeitgeist nowadays, and certainly my therapist mentioned this to me. So, like, for me, that means yoga, meditation, and therapy. I've been in therapy for a while now, and I'm sticking with it because I think that it's helping. I'm not sure exactly how it works. Maybe it's simply having someone to talk to. I do feel that it's helped me to brighten and to cope with all of the hardship that we are going through right now. And so I advise anyone who is in the position of suddenly needing to be a caregiver to, get yourself in therapy. And lastly, having a creative outlet. So this is huge. This is better than passively sitting by the television. There is some benefit to be derived from finding passive, relaxing ways to spend time as well, and just tuning out. But I think that it's very healthy to find a creative outlet that resonates with you. For me, it's been writing. I've actually, in the past few years, I think it's taken me about 3 years to write my first book. I've written a book. It's called Grow Your Own. There's 11 meditation chapters. I will post the related links below. If you're interested, you can click on the links and learn more about my book when it will be released on Amazon. I'm excited about self-publishing my first book, and I believe that there will be more to come as well. So yeah, if any of this has been helpful to you, please like and subscribe to my channel. Please ring the bell for notifications of more videos coming up. And please also leave me a comment and let me know your experiences with cancer and caregiving and what you've done for self-care. I'd love to hear from you if you found this video applicable to your own situation, why, and what's going on with you. So please like and subscribe, and we'll see you again soon. Lots of love. Thanks.